Hello guys and welcome to Coin Engineers for another video. Today I want to quickly talk about why all this attention and hype is coming into crypto and why even though all the stocks and everything seems to be in a bubble right now, crypto is still holding very well, especially Bitcoin right now surging at its all-time high. So let's talk about some of the news today and get right into the video. Okay guys, so starting with the first news, Apple's court loss opens iOS to a new era of crypto payments and NFT innovation. This is very big because this is going to open the space to new developers coming into the App Store to be able to make their own commissions and for these developers to make their own earnings and be able to have more ownership for their own platforms. So let's go into this. Federal court in California has ruled that Apple violated a 2021 injunction by blocking fair competition in the iOS App Store. The decision requires Apple to allow developers to incorporate crypto payments and NFT futures directly within their iOS apps. Developers can now bypass Apple's in-app payment system and its 30% fee. So which means Apple has lost a lot of revenue. As you guys know, in the past, Apple was earning about 10 to 20% of its entire revenue through the App Store, which is no longer the case. Now they're marking this as with different perspectives. Well, however, they're not really showing how much they are losing through this. And this is a big event for the developers and for people who are actually innovating something new. So the ruling has immediate implications. Fortnite is set to return to the US iOS Apple Store while developers gain more control over their revenue. According to Variety, this decision goes further than simply ending Apple's monopoly on app payments. It clears the way for mobile crypto wallets to connect directly to iOS apps, allowing for USDC, ETH, and Sol and other crypto assets to be used without third-party intermediaries and additional costs. So I think this is huge, especially for Ethereum and Solana. Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney applauded this decision as a significant win for developers. So as you guys know, Epic Games has been pretty big on the App Store recently and they've been getting a lot of that share and taking it away from Apple. With the ruling, developers can offer Apple's payment service alongside their own with no commissions imposed on payments processed through their systems. Sweeney emphasized that the decision forces Apple to compete in a free market, allowing consumers to benefit from diverse payment methods and pricing structures. I think overall this is a great thing for crypto. As you guys know, crypto is all about decentralization and ownership and giving that to the people. So I think all of this news is huge. And as you guys know, Epic Games has been big in crypto, creating a lot of different applications. They recently had one of the biggest games that comes into crypto, which was called Off the Grid, which is a very fun gun game, kind of similar to PUBG and also Fortnite as well. They also had some other games that are coming in. I seen yesterday they launched something called Verse World, where there's a new metaverse that just came in as a new game where you can kind of play different kind of games, race, and have different type of skins in the game. So it is pretty fun. You guys can check it out if you want. But however, overall, I think this is very bullish for crypto. So let's continue with our next news, which I want to talk about a little bit by bringing the attention into stable coins. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the stable coin surge and why that matters, because a lot of newbies, especially the new people coming into crypto, doesn't really understand the importance of stable coins. I think this is huge in the space because without stable coins, you can't really put your money into crypto, especially for bringing in the liquidity. So let's talk a little bit about that. I want to get right into that. So starting with the stablecoin surge, how big tech's blockchain gambit is reshaping payments and where to invest now. The global payments landscape is undergoing a seismic shift as big tech firms like Apple, Airbnb, X, and Google pivot towards stablecoins. And as you guys know, there's a lot of big companies that are now accepting crypto payments as well. One of the top names being Uber and also Starbucks, and there are some others to mention as well. A digital currency tethered to traditional assets like the US dollar, these partnerships with firms such as Circle, PayPal, BMVK signal a paradigm shift toward a decentralized finance, creating a $500 to $750 billion opportunity by 2025. For investors, this is not just a tech story, it's a strategic play on infrastructure, regulation, and the democratization of cross-border transactions. There's going to be a lot of liquidity coming through these stable coins. For for people to be able to invest into crypto assets, what they need to first do is be able to start owning these stable coins. And these stable coins are the same thing as owning a US dollar. And as you guys know, PayPal is one of the big ones, for example, that has recently done this with the PayPal USD option. And one of the other big names that are more trustable in this space is definitely Circle. Tether has been getting a lot of bad rep recently due to its not having its one-to-one nature and having a lot of speculation of it not having enough money in the treasury. Big tech's push into stablecoins isn't about cryptocurrency, it's about efficiency. Consider Apple's talks with Circle to integrate USDC into Apple Pay, which could slash international transaction fees by eliminating bank intermediaries. Similarly, Google Cloud's trials with PayPal's PYUSD token highlight its ambition to become a blockchain backbone for global commerce. One of the big things that will happen within crypto, if Apple Pay decides to bring USDC and Circle and they bring a partnership together, that will be huge for crypto space altogether, just because of all the money that will be flowing into crypto through those stable coins. Because as people hold these stable coins within crypto, it is so easy to convert them later on into crypto assets like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on. Circle is now officially a public company as of June 5th, listed on the NYSE under CRCL ticker. And then we can see some of the other news around Ethereum getting back into the $2,800 zones. Obviously, this is not very big compared to its price levels when it was at 3K to 4K levels, but this is still a start, and I do think a lot of attention will come back into Ethereum. And from all the events that I've been to, I can see a lot of institutional interest on building on Ethereum, especially when it comes to the smart contract and a lot of applications and a lot of games and things like that being able to build on Ethereum through NFTs and through these other smart contract type of applications, where you can have this Web3 based user application, which will give you your own ownership as well as the decentralization phase, which is pretty big for crypto, and it will make a lot of things seamless and much easier for the user perspective as well. Solana ETF, which could potentially be approved soon in about 3 to 5 weeks, so I do think it might even be happening sooner. And if all of these things do come into picture, we might actually have an all season coming in sometime soon. And looking at Cointelegraph, we can see some bullish news like crypto funds received a record of $7 billion in May. And when we look at this graph, this is such a good looking graph right now of us passing new all-time highs and potentially seeing new interest coming into the market, signaling rising institutional demand for digital assets as a hedge in unstable markets. And we can see here that Michael Saylor says that Bitcoin's bear markets are over. He predicts it could reach about $500,000 to $1 million as daily demand outpaces miner supply. As Bitcoin stays above the 100K levels and starts passing its all-time high a little bit more and more, the numbers are going to increase as more and more FOMO is going to start coming into the space. What FOMO really means is fear of missing out. A lot of people are still on the sidelines right now, very skeptical, and are really thinking, is this really going to happen or is this not going to happen? Well, think about it this way. If the institutions think that it's going to happen and they're putting all their powers into crypto, well, it really, I think, sums it up for what is really probably going to happen sometime soon into the future. One of the other good news that I want to talk about is Hong Kong to permit crypto derivatives for professional investors. So the reason for this is Hong Kong is now coming on chain. Hong Kong is one of the biggest investors. We do like to see a lot of professional investors coming into the crypto space that will bring a lot of big money into crypto. And if you take a look at, for example, one of the companies like Metaplanet, which has shares jump after 5.4 billion plan to buy Bitcoin. So what this means is that these guys are basically becoming the same as Strategy, which is the micro strategy when they have decided to go with buying Bitcoin and becoming a Bitcoin treasury company. Metaplanet is doing the same thing, and they are also putting it in their long-term goal to continuously buy Bitcoin. And Metaplanet hopes to buy 210,000 Bitcoin by the end of 2027, which will make it the second largest holder of Bitcoin among public companies. This is one of the other names that are kind of doing this now now and planning to do this as a Bitcoin treasury company is GameStop. Yes, it is GameStop, one of the companies that has been really planning this well, which is why I've actually started getting more into GameStop as well. Keep in mind, this is not financial advice. I'm just telling you guys exactly what I'm doing. I am DCing into GameStop as well because I think it has dipped a lot, and as they become more and more of a Bitcoin treasury company, I think we will see that its stock rising up as well. That is all the news that I have for you guys today. So if you found any of this information useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the video, and I'll see you on the next one.